there's the thought then that this actually is repurposed stuff from the start of the expansion, which there's parts of that don't make much sense to me. But then there is the whole thing of like, you could say, well, why is the Primus not shown when he speaks?
Yeah.
To which I might say, from a video editor's perspective, the what drove you to this end, you could say it's better to linger on him in this, position where he's been subjugated, because the lingering, the camera sort of downward, he's hunched over, that kind of build up the empathy, which will make it, stronger for when you sort of see him talk, I guess you could say that. That's a bit of a weird cut, angle-wise.
Yeah.
That's a weird cut, angle-wise, isn't it?
His head's not facing the same direction.
Very interesting. But then I just wondered, like, why are these so short? I mean, is it truly an animation time issue? I don't know, but...
Probably.
It's just, you look through all this, and it's like, you think about the details, and that's not great. And then you think about the logic, and it's like, it's not there. Like, these characters know, but now here's the thing. We're thinking all of this, but our characters in-game will never do anything about it.
Do they even know this happened? Because this is all in Zaval's brain. This is him remembering what's happened.
This is for us.
Yeah, it's for us, the viewer, as opposed to the player.
In the Legion cinematic, like, you were there.
Yeah.
You were there and you saw it happen.
It looked a bit gammy, but you were there.
Yeah.
That's just it, like.
Like, this is hopelessly bad storytelling.
Yeah.
I hope that this is not what they intended, because if it is what they intended, then frankly,
Yeah.
something needs to change, and you all understand the implication of that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Which is why I very much hope that there are many mitigating factors behind this.
Yeah.
Because this surely cannot be what any storytelling professional would intend or be comfortable with shipping within themselves.
No, which is why I think it's it's a case of they're happy to, I suppose, especially because it's a big seemingly disjointed team, or fairly disjointed. I imagine it's just a case of they're all happy to externalize the blame. Oh, didn't have time. Oh, pandemic. Oh, we all fell to shit in the company because obviously severely bad things were going on, and it took a fire to burn a lot of that out. But I feel like it's like no one cares enough no one who has the power to fix the problem cares enough about the problem. So they're all just happy to power on ahead. Now that could manifest as literally no one on the team has the power to tell the executives of Activision Blizzard, no, we need more time and more resources. Or it could be that everyone on the team is just looking at their work, eyes glazed over, or most of them, or whatever else. That's sort of something like that.
It is so hard to fathom.
Yeah.
It is so hard to fathom. At least with Game of Thrones Season 8, we know that Dave and Dan wanted the fuck out of there. Yeah. They wanted to do other shit. They had a Star Wars trilogy planned. They also had their whole slavery thing planned, which has now fallen through, I believe. But they wanted to just jump ship onto other projects because they've been doing Thrones for ages.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a reason. Like, George Martin, I think he went to HBO, and HBO, like, everyone involved other than Dave and Dan were like, we'll give you 3 more seasons. We'll do 11 seasons. We'll do 10 seasons. Just do enough. Do it good. And they're like, nope.
Money,
nope.
please.
We're doing a final season. It's really short. That's that. Mm-hmm. So, like, at least we know it's because they just wanted to cut and run. We know why the end of Game of Thrones was fucked up.
This is what happened here, right? But not from the project to the next expansion.
I suppose maybe that is it.
It has to be.
Yeah, maybe that's the explanation.
It has to be. It's the only one that makes sense, to be honest.
So then.
It's the only one that makes sense.
Yep. Oh, yeah. If we talk about this, right. So here's the thing. Dislikes don't exist anymore, but everyone with they do, but they're not public. Everyone, though, with the extension that it...
Return YouTube dislikes, I think it's called.
These are not the real number of dislikes.
Yeah.
These are an extrapolation based off the like to dislike ratio of users of that extension. That is then extrapolated, likely based on the number of views and likes. The first thing that I will say, the one thing we can verify, is that yes, this has 937 likes and 159,000 views.
Nice.
That is a very low number of likes.
Yeah.
The number of dislikes based on the extension's estimate then is 5.6k. So as a ratio, this is awful.
Yes.
Now, this could be a little worse than it actually is, because you could maybe say that people who are interested in the functionality of dislikes, who got the extension, would be more likely to drop a dislike. The only person who knows how many dislikes this got, that's just the person who actually is logging into YouTube Studio in the World of Warcraft account.
Yep.
Now, that said, unfortunately for them, for a while, most of the things they've done have been disliked heavily.
Heavily, yep.
The end of 8.3, dislike bomb. The end of 9.1, dislike bomb. The Anduin one, this one, we're not able to verify. And there's others that were more mixed, like the Tyrande, let's just nerf her because, I mean, hey, it's the usual Blizzard thing. Oh no, we've let our female character get too powerful. Now she's being overly emotional with her power. Let's strip her power away.
Yep.
We know how to write women honest.
Indeed.
Which is, I mean, funny enough, you actually just write them as characters because, that's not how you define them. But it's just a really funny thing that Blizzard keeps on falling into the same trap with how they write their women. It's very bizarre. And it's not really who you'd expect it from, considering their values. But anyway, it's just continually, there's been just so many of these have been disliked. It's really weird. I suppose maybe this made me thinking, because I remember Shadowlands itself was heavily disliked at the start. Maybe 1/3 on the cinematic trailer were dislikes.
Right.
I mean, I remember we didn't stream it, but I remember we all watched it, and Jared had some hope. Me and you were like, "Oh, fuck! What are they doing? Oh no! They can't deliver in this."
Yep.
And I think we ended up being proven a bit right there. But anyway, the point.
Nothing I love more than being right about this game. Jesus.
We both hate it. We hate being right.
Yep.
We try to be accurate to help you, but we hate being right. So look, everything they're doing is being heavily disliked. And it's not like Mists of Pandaria where they take a big bet, people get confused, and then they actually deliver on it and make people happy. I mean, even with MoP, sure, we didn't have as many of the big cinematics, but their trailers were really good and explained the lore, and they were emotionally resonant. Just think about the 5.2 trailer. That was great. Yeah. So, the trailers they do now are just these, weird... I mean, I don't know who hears that, weird, trailer music is the only way that I can... Yeah. Okay, seriously, who likes that? Yeah, who likes it? Who likes it? Does anyone in the world actually like that? I guess the answer is normies like that, in which case, God help everyone. But who likes it? Who the fuck likes it?
The answer isn't that normies like it. The answer is that most people don't care, and it has been so inoffensive, and whatever is about it has not been good as a piece of music, but it just adds to whatever feeling people have. Oh, that was big, that was epic. And it's not that they like it, it's that they feel epic, or slightly more epicer. And that's all they need is just, oh yeah, it feels epic, bro. Feels epic, bro. Yeah. Yeah, ship it. That's it, really.
Oh dear. Yeah. So overall, this is just a big confusing shit show. And then there's even logical problems.
Oh.
I mean, all the logic could be there, right?
Yeah.
All the logic could be there. It just isn't. And I could think of an explanation for all of these things.
Yeah.
And a few small lines of dialogue would lampshade all of these problems.
Yep.
But that's headcanon. That's me inventing shit. It's not actually there. And if it is in the developers' heads and it's why they think it makes sense, but they didn't put it into the game, then it may as well not exist.
Then you've done it wrong.
Yes.
Oops.
You've developed game incorrectly. And that might seem a bit weird and declarative, but no, if the basics of your story don't make sense and you know why they make sense, but you haven't told anyone and everyone's like, we're confused, it doesn't make sense, then you've objectively failed. So when we kind of go through this, right? It's okay, so he activates
Zera's Mortis console or something.
the Orbi Azeroth thing.
Yeah. He turns
And
on
then
the Azeroth machine.
The Azeroth the Azeroth circle turns on
The Forge of Souls.
the Forge of Souls.
And ICC for a reason.
Now,
Don't
this
think-
was a cool enough moment, but could we have had that explained? You know the way that Bronzearm, the guy who like kind of presides over this place, was in the pre-patch?
Yeah.
He was known as the guy who dropped the 32 slot bag.
Yeah.
Or was it 34?
34.
34, yeah. 34, I got that first time. I felt pretty bad about that. But maybe this could have been foreshadowed? Or foreshadowed better, or, you know, anything could have been done so that players could actually understand this. And then there's also the thing, did nobody know that?
Did
Because-
Bellular not know that? Did Arthas not know that?
Yeah.
Did did the Ebon Blade not know that? They were in there for years. Nah, just what are this Forge of Souls for?
Yeah, or like,
We destroyed it. Let's not think about it.
you're just going to be like, why did we build that? Who's specs? What does it do? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's like Bolvar was able to resist the domination magic because of the various different, the Paladin angle giving him the light, the Alexstrasza thing giving him the life. You know, he had all these other forces working against death.
That's right.
So,
He's full of Alexstrasza fire, and they never talked about that this expansion.
yeah, they talked about it in terms of their explanation for how
yeah.
Bolvar works and why
Yeah,
the
but-
jailer was pissed off, but never there. So this, it's like, it's cool. But maybe if it was a part of a storyline that we experienced, it would have been good. And then there's the other thing of like, Torghast and Icecrown are touching tips.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like-
that is themes. They're the same but different.
Did anyone think
Cool.
about this?
No,
Like, did any of our characters think, to what end could this be?
no.
This is the mirror of that in the Shadowlands. What does it mean?
Yeah, no one turned around, and this is the part that annoys me, what they do with like lore and stuff, in terms of what the character's supposed to know as well. Because whenever we found out the Dreadlords did everything, no one stopped to go, Bolvar, did you know anything about that? Bolvar's like, hi, Bolvar, dude, can we see the blueprints for the schematics for Icecrown Citadel? You know, who built that? Was it, did the Scourge build that under Arthas, or, because the soul's in there, you're bound to know? He's like, nah, I think it was the Dreadlords. We're like, well, now we know the Dreadlords are working for the jailer. Maybe we should have a wee look at that. Maybe we should go investigate. Like, hello, Mother. This looks oddly familiar to all the stuff that you know about. Could you come over and give a wee look and see what this is for?
Yeah.
But no, everyone's like, no, we have to go to Corthe. We're like, cool, sweet, fantastic.
Our characters are so artificially stupid.
Yeah.
Even characters like the Primus, it's like, they just have no interest in doing it. Like, I mean, I don't know, you say now y'all are reaching. Is it reaching to, like, want to know how this works?
No,
Or to say that, like, very basic logic and should exist in a story?
Yeah, because the point is, again, it's just I don't care. It's like, why do the characters not care? Why does Bolvar not think about how Icecrown and Torghast are a mirror? Why is he not walking around Torghast going, in here, well, obviously not because of jailer domination, but why is he not going, it looks an awful lot like ICC, maybe we should figure that out. Why is no one saying that? Why is, it's a case of Magni did nothing of super import. Khadgar was going around being like smart and solving problems and thinking about stuff and being like, yo, because he went, like, obviously he went and sorted the legendary ring. You're like, that's, you may have killed us in the process, or very close to, but, fair play. You were an actual actor in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas no character is an actor except for one of the villains, or maybe two of the villains. No one does anything. Everyone just sort of happens. That's about it.
I think it's another thing too is there's all of the like old god goop underneath Icecrown Citadel.
Yeah,
I
well,
wonder
yeah,
how
like-
that factors into
Yeah,
this.
so what is, obviously this is built as Sirenite, so what's Yogg got to do with any of this? Anything whatsoever? They literally completely ignored the fact that, they even could have just passed it away doing anything. But they're like, oh yeah.
Well, it could make sense.
Yeah, remember the time they put they played the Yogg Saron music whenever Bolvar put the helmet on? Should we ever include that in our expansion that we marketed almost solely around Sylvanas, the dead person, and Bolvar, the Lich King, who has the helm of the old god music, which is now what I'm going to consider it.
The lore could make sense because you could say that Yogg-Saron was doing all of this to get control of a Titan machine that would lead to the Heart of Azeroth so that he could ultimately corrupt the planet and achieve his goal.
Sweet.
But again, That's my headcanon.
Yeah.
It's not in game. It's not the story.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then there's the other weird thing of like, okay, so this Azurite, whatever.
Yeah, Azeroth.
It goes, so best I can see here.
Yeah, it goes into the tip of Torghast.
Goes into the tip of Torghast.
Yep.
Okay, then it cuts away. But then it appears here.
Yeah.
Coming out of the Azeroth orb thingy in Zereth Mortis. So how is Torghast connected to Zereth Mortis? Does the jailer have like a portal?
Well, that wouldn't make any sense.
How does it work?
Also, yeah, he wanted to get to Zereth Mortis. He didn't, unless he had like an invisible winch that he was connecting to. He was connected to Torghast. He's pulling behind him the whole time, just to like hook the jumper cables into Zereth Mortis or something. But like, that's it. It logically is completely inconsistent in a way like, that's
a bit of
frustrating.
Zereth Mortis was pulled into Torghast. Yeah, it was the Guardian, the first ones.
Oh, right.
It's a little chunk of Zereth Mortis, but it's I get that there's a link there, but what's going on? So it just all this stuff's weird, and then like when we kill him, it stops.
Yeah. Why?
I thought it was a machine that he turned on. So okay, he's a part of this, but so again, it's just like all those things where it's just sloppy, and why is this not 8 or 9 minutes long? I mean, I guess you're just going to turn around and say production, but it's like okay, well. Because the price of that is the reaction that has happened. And it's made, we're also unhappy and just discontent and disappointed. And I think the other thing is the betrayal, because in order to get this, they had to essentially retcon the Dreadlords, or at least very much change what we thought about the Dreadlords. They had to change how we read Warcraft 3 entirely.
Yep.
They, cheapened so many of our past experiences to get this. Because I know there's been some people being like, yeah, the story's bad, but it's been bad before. Why is everyone so pissed off now? And for me, that's the answer. It's because N'Zoth was just disappointing. Yeah. And it was damaging to that part of the lore. But this is like completely... This is the thing that we got from a mass recontextualization of past events. And it is a recontextualization. That is not how we understood those events at the time. And it's like there's a way that you could have done that well. But, think about like a good M. Night Shyamalan movie versus a bad M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like what makes the reveal at the end satisfying? And it's in a movie like Sixth Sense, where it's a really great movie as you're watching it. And it's a really good, great movie as you're watching it again, knowing the end.
Yeah.
It's like it's great in both, almost in both directions. And that's why it's really hard to do a good twist ending. It is so challenging to do that in media. And this is like less of a twist ending. This is more like, we just put the motivations at the end. But just the way that brutalized the WoW lore.
Yeah, it's because I really don't mind, it being bad. I will give anything that's literally just bad the time of day, because if you don't give something bad the time of day, then nothing good ever happens, because people need to do things that are bad and then do things that are good. But it's like there's no understanding that this is bad. All of the framing is that no, we have done this perfectly. Obviously they definitely don't think that, but it's the fact that they're telling us this was planned all along. When to me it is insulting. It is genuinely insulting that they tried to say any of this stuff publicly. It's insulting that they marketed Shadowlands the way they did, gave us this, and then went, this was the plan. Because even if you're not saying this was the plan the whole time, if that's like just technically correct but spirit's incorrect trickery, then that's not how you treat customers. That is not how you treat customers whatsoever, because that is some of the worst of the entire game industry, if you're literally lying to customers' faces.
Every line that Steve said, almost every line that Steve said, obviously probably off a prompter.
Yeah.
Maybe not even written by him as a part of a promotional piece of media. So I would always take it with those grains of salt. But fundamentally, it's like, what are the words that have came from the narrative team about this? And the only words we have are, this is like the end of a big book in the Warcraft, the end of the first book.
Like what?
So it's like, okay, well, I am now engaging with this on the terms that you hyped me up.
Yeah.
And, the people who say, oh, it's ridiculous to do that, say it's, we're insulting Warcraft 3, insulting Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah.
The marketing of this expansion of this patch actually opened with shots from those past Warcraft, like bits of media. So that's how they wanted us to think about this. I just can't believe they think we're that stupid.
I think that's fundamentally
It's insane.
Yeah, either they're huffing their own gas so hard, or they think we are genuinely idiots in terms of the telling us any of this. To be honest, it's like if this was just this is grim. Sorry, we couldn't really do what we planned here. You know, the pandemic really scuffed our like initial stuff, so we lost so much content we had planned. We had loads of stuff planned for like how you would engage with the motivations of Zoval through Torghast. We cut all that because you didn't like Torghast very much, because we didn't fill it, completely plan it out. Whatever else, the Covenant stuff distracted us really hard in early development. We had to pivot around, the way we did in BFA. We had to pivot mid expansion to solve a lot of problems, and that took a lot of time away from the leadership. And that resulted in what is going to feel a bit like an undercooked expansion. And we, in the interest of getting out of this mire that we've left ourselves in, that we're sorry we've made you pay for, we're cutting a patch and we're moving this expansion. Please be patient with us. That'll be good. We'll keep you up to date. There'll be an alpha soon. We'll tell you what it is. If they said that, I would have completely say, yeah, that's strike one. But they've just, they've somehow had one ball thrown at them and had like 7 strikes at once. And that's the problem that really, that's the thing that gets me. It's like, I'm not been treated like a loyal customer.
Yeah, they are so deep in a web of their own bullshit and chronic under-delivering that the only way out of this is honesty.
Yeah.
And I guess when you look at the sorts of things that they say to the press, that they say in those videos, it's like the best case is that you're not being honest with these, because if you honestly think this is great, then there is just no hope for the franchise.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly
I mean, unless it just completely decides to just turn into an esport or something, where it's like the narrative doesn't matter at all or any of that. But, World of Warcraft as a high-end gameplay oriented semi-esport is what we call a relatively modern thing. It's
Indeed.
Like the end game was there at the top of an MMORPG, and for the longest time, WoW did great for being a virtual world.
Yep.
So this whole situation is brutal.
Which is especially frustrating because they're doing such good work in solving like a lot of the gameplay issues recently. And then they hit this like incredible capstone of, hey, we're announcing cross-faction. We're finally addressing some of the worst problems this game has faced, especially the modern problems. And also, here's the end of the cinematic. Sorry, you can't trust our narrative design team to work with our the rest of the team to make a satisfying narrative experience. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, why was this not the story of the campaigns?
Yeah.
Why did they choose to do it this way?
Because they wrote checks they can't cash. That's fundamentally it. And then they're saying they're good for it. That's basically it.